Today's project will require the use of your colored pencils, a regular pencil, and a piece of white paper. Hi class, it's Mrs. Latinsky. I'm back with another art lesson for you, and today my kitten Toby is joining me. Today I'm wearing a shirt from a very special place that we're going to talk a bit about today. My shirt I got on my last trip to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's a special city that I love very much, and my family and I love to go there. Last time that I was there, I met an incredible artist, a woman who works in Puerto Vallarta and does her artwork there, and she sells it downtown in a special place called the Malecon. That's a boardwalk. It's a place where tourists and locals can walk along the waterfront. It's gorgeous, and she was selling her artwork and actually creating her art right there in the water. And I wanted to share with you, here's a picture she let me take of the display she had. And she also took the time to explain to me her technique for creating these lovely works of art. One of the things that I love that she created in this artwork is the sense of space. And so we're going to talk about the element of art space, which we've discussed a bit before, but today we're going to take a little different approach to it. We're also going to discuss our final principle of design. We've talked about all the elements of art and all the principles of design now. So today's principle of design is unity and harmony. In unity and harmony, an artwork's pieces come together to create a complete whole that basically works together. It has unity. It seems like it is coherent, it fits together, so the elements work together in a way that they seem to fit. In this situation, we're going to be talking about how space creates a sense of unity and wholeness in this piece, how she uses the same technique on space when she creates all her different images in the city of Puerto Vallarta, that it will seem whole and unified. I wanted to take a moment and show you the actual piece of art that I purchased from the artist in Puerto Vallarta. Sadly, I did not get her name, and I was hoping that she had signed her work so I could tell you what her name was, but I can't find her name anywhere on the artwork, and I don't see it. So unfortunately, I don't know this artist's name. Sometimes that happens. Artists choose not to put their names on their artwork. She uses some sort of instrument, perhaps even a pencil, to push into the back of this thin metal. I think it's a form of aluminum, and to make the shapes, the outlines, because if you feel it, it has a texture to it actually. And then what she does is she, on the opposite side, she fills it in with a special kind of paint that sticks on metal, and it's very bright and shiny. You can see that. And she fills in all those colors, and then she does a coat on the top of it of some sort of clear coat. I'm not sure exactly what it is, that gives it a nice glossy finish over everything. What we're going to study today is the use of space and how she uses space in her art. And you can demonstrate space, how things take up space, whether it's 2D or 3D in a flat piece of art, in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways she does this in this particular artwork is by how she places things on here from low to high. You notice how there's some buildings down here, but some buildings are higher. And when you do that, from something that goes from low to high, it creates a sense of distance. So the things that are down here are closer, and the things that are up here go further and further away. It's a trick of the eye. So if you want to create a sense of depth in your painting, a sense of space in your painting or your drawing, one of the things you can do is start with a certain level of things down here on the lower part of the drawing or painting. And then as you go up higher, you can make those things appear more further away. One thing to note here is that everything in this painting is the same size. Sometimes another way to show space or distance is to create smaller things that go further and further away, which makes them, appear that they're in the distance. But here, even as they go further and further away, because in this situation, the things that are higher are further away, they're still relatively the same size. These buildings are similar in size to these buildings. And I'm going to draw a line here. This is where my sky is going to be. I just want to keep that in mind. I'm going to start at the bottom and draw a layer of very simple houses. You could do whatever kind of buildings you want, but I wanted to show you very simple houses. You start with a square or rectangle, And you draw a triangle at the top for a roof. A rectangle door, some windows, you choose how many, maybe you'll have one in the middle, who knows? And there you go, there's your house. Most of these houses are going to be roughly the same size, but you can play around with shape a little bit. Like this one's going to have a taller rectangle. Maybe some of them will be apartment buildings. So I'm going to fill up this first row, but they don't all have to be even with each other. See how this one goes a little lower than the rest? That's a good thing because it shows some are further back, further away, because this one starts lower, so this one's closer, and this one starts up higher, so it's further away. Okay, now we have this layer. What we're going to do now is create some things behind it by using space and layering. Here's another house. You see this house? Now I'm showing that this house is behind this house in a couple different ways. One way I'm showing it is because this house is closer to the bottom. So that means that it's closer. But this house also is blocking this one a bit. Do you see that? This corner of this house is covering this one. Well, it must be in front of it. It's closer to us. One way we create unity in this piece is the doors to all the houses are roughly the same size. Some of these houses are bigger than others, but their doors are about the same size, and so are their windows. And that tells us the houses are about the same size. Sometimes you can show distance by things getting smaller as you go higher, but this particular artist that we're studying, she didn't do that. Her buildings, even if they're far in the top of the artwork, are about the same size still. So she just shows a sense of distance based on where it is on the page. If it's up high on the page, it means it's further away. I want you to pay attention to this one a second. Now this one has, you know, the same size doors and windows as all the other ones. But one unique thing about this house is that its roof line is going to go above that line we drew earlier. You see that? And that's okay. You can cover the horizon line. That's just fine, but just erase it because you don't see through the house. I like to color the sky a light blue, but you could add clouds. It's okay to have some white peeking through. First of all, because it's a sky, and of course skies have little white wispy clouds. I also like to draw sort of a light green background behind under all the houses, around the houses, showing grass. You could do brown, but then it would just look like all the houses are in dirt. Pick your favorite colors and color your houses. You could color harder if you wanted to have darker colored buildings and houses. And you don't have to do houses. You could do businesses and hotels and libraries, and you could do sports stadiums if you really wanted to. Now I want to show you how to do a roof. But if you want to show a sense of texture in the roof, you can do that by making some little lines. So those are horizontal lines. You can do vertical lines because roofs have little shingles on them and go in different directions. You can do diagonal lines. Okay, I want to show you a trick for windows. Now our sky is this light blue color, and windows reflect the sky. And so if you give them just a little scribble of that sky color in there, it'll look like the glass reflecting things a bit more. Okay, the last thing I like to do is add some trees to fill in some space, and trees can be a very simple triangle. You don't have to be complicated, just a little triangle. And I'm going to go through and give them a tree trunk when I'm done. And trees can go over that horizon line too, some big ones. Here is the final art project. Toby and I enjoyed doing art with you today. Thanks for joining us. I'd love to see your artwork. Please take a moment and share it with me.